Come on now. And we are officially live. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Saturday and welcome to a very special episode of Transformation Greatness along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. I am your host here, Sean A. White, and we have a very special guest that's here on the stage. This is someone that had an opportunity to get to know. Her story is very inspirational. And if you know me, I'm all about providing you all with individuals that have overcame extraordinary things and events in their life, but also too that's also doing great things as well to give back in this world. So if you know me, you know as far as what my brand is all about, motivating, encouraging, inspiring the masses. And I just appreciate each and every single last one of you that have contributed as far as to that mission statement. So I appreciate you all. So with that being said, because you didn't come to hear me talk and blabber, it's never about me. It's always about our guest here. So before I bring her on, please, 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 if you catch this on the live, you know what I say. Put in the hashtag live. Let us know exactly where you're tuning in from. And of course, if you should be having to catch this on a replay because you're doing other things, I get it. It's the Labor Day weekend. I get it. But guess what? Put in hashtag replay. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And by the way, if you're getting great value from this, by all means, please feel free to join in the conversation, comment, share. You know me, it's all about dialogue versus a monologue. And I think I pretty much set that up in the right way. So, with no further ado, we have a young lady here that is extraordinary in her own right. She is making headways as far as in her region. Her story is so inspirational. Man, I thought I've been through some stuff. Guess what? ain't, ain't nothing, ladies and gentlemen. I have no excuses. And I believe that when she comes on and tell you her story, and what she's doing now to give back, I believe you'll be able to find value in that and even strength in that as well. So, with no further ado, let's get this show rocking and rolling with the one, the only Miss Francisca Nunez. Oh, I
Uh,
like that. Wait. I like that. Let me say it one more time. Francisca Nunez. No longer silent. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show, man.
oh God, thank you, Sean. Thank you for that introduction. Absolutely wonderful. I am honored. Most, before I even start, I would like to say thank you. I am honored for you to have me on tonight. It's truly an honor. I follow you also, and you say my story is impacting. I heard yours. Soon I'll have you on my podcast telling your testimony. On tonight, I just want to thank everybody that's chiming in and looking. But yes, I have a model that I'm going to start with. I don't look like what I went through. Once I start telling my testimony, a lot of people don't believe it because when they see me, they be like, wow, you're supposed to look damaged, all messed up. And it wasn't for me. So I thank God. That's the highmost that kept me moving. But I had married in 1998. Um, and I have to say that at first, us women, we think about the white dress, the flowers, walking down the aisle, all happy. And that was my mindset. Never ever divorcing. It wasn't in, I always made it work. But unfortunately, everything was beautiful from the beginning, always asking how was work. Everything was cordial, nice and going out and stuff like that. But 6 years in the relationship, I started noticing he was very abusive, verbal and physical towards me, and I always questioned as to why, because little me never did anything. So I remember one time he started with the, of course I have to say, his mom always told me what he liked for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's keep in mind, I didn't know none of that. So I can say she educated me. So there was never no flaws in that, but he did see flaws in that. And that's when the problem started. I recall one time that I asked him how was work, and he was very upset, and he had told me to shut the, F up. And I was like in the kitchen, like, whoa, as a wife, you're going to ask your husband how was his day, to make him feel good. It's not a question that's stupid, but he got upset, and he turned around and was like, just put my dinner on the table and that's it, and don't say nothing to me. So he proceeded to take a shower. On that evening, I did make the dinner that he liked it, and this is when it's gonna come raw. He had came into the kitchen, didn't like the meal, and mind you, he's eaten it several times. And the most humiliating thing he did to me that day was he threw the food in my face. Yes, he did. He threw the food in my face and told me he didn't want it. Um, at that moment, I
Was he
felt
just having a
so.
bad day or something? Like,
Yeah. I mean, he told me just put the dinner on the table, and I did exactly what he told me. And when he came back, the meal was exactly what he usually eats, but that evening he threw it in my face. And he told me, like, to pick it up and make him something else. And I thought, like, what am I gonna make you? That's, I got off from work, I was tired, I made you that meal. What am I gonna
mm,
make, like, one, two, three?
right.
So he proceeded to go to the living room. I was picking up everything from the floor, washing my face, and just wondering what did I do, to upset him. So on that
Mm,
evening, I think I made him a milkshake, like a smoothie or something. He drank that, and we went to bed. Following day, which was on a Friday, he proceeded like to go out. I never questioned his outings, never questioned. But on that evening, he came a little drunk.
mhm,
Um, and he had told me something he's never done. And that time that he got, I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, he proceeded to come into the room, and took the blanket off and told me to get off the bed and make us something to eat. He was hungry. And I'm looking like it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, you know, like let me sleep. You came in drunk. That's your problem. So of course, noticing the outbursts during the week and him being angry, I got up like, the good wife, and I cooked him something and he ate it and went to sleep. Every single day it was a different attitude. It was something different, and the verbal abusive was getting very, very like intense. I remember, it was mostly in the weekends that it was like the fighting, the arguments. And I recall one Saturday that he had went out and he brought a lot of friends with him. This was at 3 o'clock in the morning. Came in the room and told me to get up. He was hungry. He had some people in the kitchen. And I said, no, I didn't want to get up. And he was like, get up because you're not going to make me embarrassed. So, of course, again, like the good wife, I got up and I saw three gentlemen and a lady. And
mhm.
at that time, I was making something like an appetizer or something. And I proceeded to go into the room. I was very upset because you bring these people in my house and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You know I have to go to work the next day. So
100%.
as the week started progressing, the verbal was starting to get abusive. I recall one time we got into a real argument when I asked him how he was doing from work. I seen that he was upset, and he just told me like, why you keep asking me? Shut the f up. I don't
Mm,
want to talk to you. And I approached him. I said, am I saying something wrong by asking you? I was like, I don't see nothing wrong. Why did I do that? That evening we started arguing. Well, he started arguing. He was like, well, I'm getting tired of you asking me. Who's telling you to ask me anyway? What do I care? So it started into a tussle. So I lived on the second floor, and the tussle got to where he threw me down the stairs.
wow.
And yeah, when he threw me down the stairs, I had sprained my ankle real bad and I had to go to the hospital. Of course, he went with me, and this was him. Do not tell anybody how that happened. You slipped. So of course I listened. I was in the hospital, I think for 2, 3 days. It was like in a cast. I came home, and the usual, I'm sorry, it's never gonna happen again, because he saw me in the cast. Never believed him. then that's when I started feeling some type of way, like, how can you love a man like this that mistreats you? On a day-to-day basis, everything bothers him. He goes on the weekends and he gets drunk and he gets you up from the bed. And I started to feel some type of depression that this wasn't love, this wasn't life. Of course, I had 3 children. They never seen, I shunned it from them. They never seen the violence. But it started getting, instead of verbal, it started getting more and more, physical. At times, I try not to ask him, and he would say, "Oh, you don't ask me how was my day. I'm a little upset." And I would be like, "Hold up, this is like deja vu. When I ask you is a problem, now you're telling me to ask you. It's an issue when I don't." So he would come in and be like, "You make me mad. I want you in the house. I want you cooking. I want you this. I want you that." And I'm like, whatever I do is a problem. So the slaps would come, and I would be like, okay. I was like, this is not, I was young when I married him. I have to say, I was
Okay.
young, and I
Okay.
took like a lot of physical abuse from him. We own a business.
Okay.
And one time in the winter, I was wearing sunglasses. He had punched me in the face to the point that he did a black eye. And this is what's going to be ironic. His sister had came into the office and noticed I had sunglasses on, and she pulled them up and she saw I had a humongous black eye. Stood shut, never said nothing to me. Like, obviously you have to know your brother did that. Never said anything. And I just was like, whoa, I can't even tell her, he's abusing me because
Right.
you lifted the sunglasses. So that's obviously you're condoning it. So that
Hmm.
was one incident. It started getting worse and worse, to the point that I'm not going to use that word as a little graphic, but the sex was never consensual. If people can get, it was never
Hmm.
consensual. It was very demeaning. The way he did it certain times, 3 o'clock in the morning, would come drunk. He would force himself on me, knowing that I had to go to work to a nursing home, like get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I will wrap up like a ball crying, and actually wondering to myself, like, wow, this is my husband. It's supposed to be something consensual, and it's not. He's forcing himself on me. So that made me, as a woman, feel like nothing. Not like his wife or nothing. Like I was like a property. And
Mm.
and I started feeling like some type of way inside of me, like, wow, how can you do this to me? You physically, verbally mistreat me. And I was just basically doing everything to make him happy, and everything was like wrong to him. And
Mm.
I remember one time I got so sick of everything that he was doing to me. And it saddens me to say that I went to my mother and I had told her what he was doing to me and the graphics and stuff. And I said, listen, I can't take it no more. I went to her crying and I said, I don't know what to do anymore. It sickens me that he does that to me. And here is what's going to blow everybody's top. Your mother is supposed to be the one to protect you. On that evening that I mentioned that to her, she had told me to fix it. And I just was like blown away, like, fix it. Like I'm the problem. And I'm just straight looking at her like, I'm telling you, this man is forcibly having sex with me. He's beating me up. And you're supposed to be the one to protect me and get me out of that situation. So of course, her being my mother, and believing what she said, I went home, cleaned, cooked his favorite meal, made sure everything was fixed that afternoon for him. And no matter what I did, I started noticing that I was not the problem. So I saw no help with my mom. I saw no help with his family. I was embarrassed to even mention it to friends because in society, everybody thought we were the perfect marriage when we weren't. I remember one incident that, for the rest of my life, I'm suffering from it. He had knocked me. Well, we were tussling on the stairs and we were fighting that evening, and he grabbed my ankle and he literally, in 3 areas of my ankle, he cracked it where there is steel nails holding it up. For the rest of my life, when the winter comes, my big toe detaches and it catches a cramp and it lasts for 10 minutes. And I am literally in agony because no matter if I massage it with lotion or rub it, I just have to let it take its course. And it's a shame that he did that to me. In other occasions, my right hand on my fourth finger, he disfigured that finger. There was no way for them to ever get the bone in order, so he did that. Various punches in my head, and occasionally, sometimes I catch migraines from it. But he was not the perfect husband that I thought I should have in my life. And I know a lot of people are going to wonder why I stayed 17 years married to him. I didn't believe in divorce despite what I endured. I saw no help in the past who to reach out to. When I went to my mom, there was no help. When I went to the sisters, there was no help. So I felt like trapped. But here comes the faith I had in God. Every year, um, I started saying, God, I know you love me and you're gonna remove this man out of my life. Not my way, your way. I'll keep enduring what's happening to me. And I have to say, there was New Year's coming in. He came at 3 o'clock in the morning on that night, and I was sleeping. And he came and approached me in the bed, ripped the blanket off of me, and he tried to force himself on me, and I tussled with him. So when he saw that I tussled with him, he threw me on the floor. He pinned me from the dresser to the bed, and where he was literally choking me out. My 16-year-old daughter was in the next room when this was going on. She didn't hear anything. But that night, I started thinking, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I never fought this individual. Am I going to let him take me out like this? He's literally choking me. I'm like numb on the floor. So, of course, with my knee, I was able to force it out and I kicked him in between, his legs. He jumped up and I ran into the living room. We started arguing there. He proceeded to go to the kitchen and say that, he was going to kill me. B, I'm going to kill you. That's it. That's it for you. So, of course, my daughter came out of the room into the living room. This man was intoxicating, holding like a humongous butcher knife. And she tells me to run to the bathroom. I run to the bathroom. I stay in there. But when I'm in the bathroom, I'm thinking, like, okay, she tells me to run to the bathroom. She's in the living room with this individual with a knife. He's intoxicated. That is my daughter. What if he hurts her and kills her? But she's protecting me to tell me to run into the bathroom. I said, no, that's a no no. I prayed in the bathroom and I said, okay, God, whatever happens to me tonight, let it be. But I have to come out of this bathroom. There's no way this individual will hurt me in this way by, killing my daughter. That was my mindset. So I ran out of the bathroom, proceeded to walk to the living room. And at that moment, let me tell you something, but God, I can only say, but God. There was a knocking on the door. My daughter ran down the stairs. It was the cops. They came up. I gotta say, the coward hid the knife in the dining room underneath the tablecloth. And on tonight, I just want to say I'm a sweet person. I'm not a person to hurt anyone. When the cops came up, he sat in the dining room chair. And I'm gonna be honest, my actions, what I did, I ran into the room and I put a turtleneck where my neck was completely bruised. And when the cops came, they were like, we got a phone call. Neighbors are saying there's a lot of noise. There was an argument. I said, yeah, he's a little drunk. There was, an argument. But have I pulled down my turtleneck, they would know he physically abused me. At that moment, that individual could have went to jail because the knife was under the tablecloth. I could have said, you know what, he hurt me. He tried to kill me. My daughter is a witness. And instead, what they did was they weren't stupid. They looked and saw that he was drunk, that something was going on. So they looked over to me and they said, listen, is there anywhere we can take you until he sleeps it off? mind you, it was my house. It was my house. They should have removed him, not me. So of course I left with my daughter. We went to my sister-in-law's house. Soon as she saw me arrive with the cops there, she wasn't stupid. She knew exactly what was going on. And, I stayed there for a little while, contemplating like, 17 years, it's a lot. I can't do this. It was in front of my daughter. This is not what I want my daughter to learn what a relationship or a marriage is. I need to go back to the house and tell this individual, that's it, I'm done. So anybody that's from Patterson that knows where Kathy Court is at, 6 o'clock in the morning, I walked all the way back to where the original CCP projects were. And knowing that this individual, we can tussle or he can kill me, I was going to be by myself. I walked there, proceeded to go to the house and tell him, I need you to leave. Knowing the whole time as I'm walking, I'm like, listen, this can go to the left. He can kill me. There's no one there, not my daughter. So I went and I said, God, let's do this. So when I got to the house, I proceeded to go to the bedroom. He was in there sleeping off, his alcohol. And I tapped him and I said, listen, I need you to leave. I really can't do this no more. You got approximately 24 hours to leave. All he did was and I left. And my hurt right now was that when I went back to my sister-in-law, my daughter was not there. I got hysterical. I told my sister-in-law what happened. She was like, she got in the vehicle, she left. And the one thing that made me think was, let me call my brother. And when I called him up, I said, listen, is my daughter with you? She was like, yeah. She explained everything to us. And I'm like, what did she explain? She was like, that you left to go with your husband and you left her at your sister-in-law. I was like, that's not so. I left her there because I told the individual I wanted him to leave. She has it wrong. Because of that, I lost 3 years of my daughter's life. 3 years that she didn't understand that all I did was I wanted to protect her and understand that I wanted to give her a life with no domestic in it, that love is not supposed to hurt. And that's the only thing that bothered me. I did divorce the individual in 2014. And I have to say to the women that are listening, never have someone tell you that you're ugly, you're worthless, you don't mean nothing, you're not capable, because this individual always told me I was ugly. Why go to school? I needed to stay home, cook, and, tend to the kids. And I felt like meaningless. The only thing I can do was work, but I wanted to do more things, something that wanted to make myself feel happy. And I have to say that when I divorced him, there was something I had to prove to myself, and that's that whatever he said I couldn't accomplish, I thank God I accomplished it. I wanted a model, and I did that. Originally, I came on 3 magazines on the front page. I educated myself. I'm in professional, anything you can just imagine: mental health, human trafficking, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, you name it, domestic violence coach, bullying coach. And I feel proud of myself that I accomplished that. But one thing I want to say that someone told me was, look in the mirror. Because at one point I believed what he said. And she was like, look in the mirror, and whatever you see in the mirror, if you don't like it, fix it. But if you don't love yourself, you can't expect somebody to love you. So on tonight, I want to say that when I looked in the mirror, I absolutely loved what I saw. There was nothing absolutely wrong with me. And my whole aura, my whole mindset started changing. And I just started saying, you know what? You got to learn how to forgive him, to move forward, and show him that he did not break you and he does not have that power over you. And I got to say, on tonight, I did the damn thing. And I'm very, very proud of myself. And I say, whatever I went through in that aspect of my life, I'm not embarrassed of it. I learned from it. And it's something that I have to say, maybe God wanted me to go through that, because now I speak for the voiceless, because I'm fortunate to say I'm alive. It could have went to the left, and I thank God it didn't. My faith in God is absolutely amazing. I put everything first in His hand. I'd be like, Father God, if you think I can do this, let's run with it. So I'm happy to say that I had to go through something like that to educate men, women, and youth that love is not supposed to hurt. So when I say I don't look like what I went through, when I tell my testimony, people say, but you don't look like it. I said, I thank God. You know, it could have went to the left for me. I took counseling one time. It wasn't for me. But I still say whoever needs it, you know, take it. It wasn't for me because me and God had this. But I started thinking I could have been an alcoholic. I could have used drugs. I could have been dependent on pills. And
Correct.
I thank God, none of the above. I dealt with it the best way I can. That I get nightmares in the past, yes. But I thank God I overcome them because my mindset was I can't give the time of day or that energy to that man anymore because I learned I wasn't the problem. He was the issue, you know. So I just thank God for everything that I accomplished. He knows this for a fact. I get word on the street like, you know, look everything she's doing. And I want you to see everything I'm doing because I want you to know you didn't damage me. I'm not a bitter woman. You know, I'm a loving woman. I'm very humble. I'm here to always help. I'm a listening ear. I don't care what time you call me. I'm a listening ear. And I'm just giving back to what God gave me was my life back. Because, like I said, we have so many women and men I have to include that lost their lives from domestic violence because they either stay in that relationship because they think it's love, and basically just leaving. If you're not mine, you won't be anyone's.
I want to ask you a question on that. And first and foremost, Francisca, thank you for just to be able to articulate and be able to share your story because the numbers say, and guys, you don't have to believe anything I say. You can go ahead and look it up for yourself. But the statistics show that those that's in a situation don't make it out.
Mhm.
And it's not, it's the percentage of those that actually overcome that, the numbers is better than before, but still, in comparison to how many cases, still not enough. Even if the person overcomes that, a lot are actually traumatized and damaged and will not say anything about it whatsoever, and they will keep it shut. So for the fact that you've been able to come on here, which takes a lot of courage to share not only your story but just to share your story period, and be that pillar of light, right, to so many other people, that takes a lot of courage, and I most certainly commend you on that. Now, before I get to my next point, I want to address Latanya Davis, and she asked a question for you. And thank you so much. I can't pronounce the first name, but Gojo. He or she said I shared it to my Facebook friends. Thank you so much. But Mrs. Davis asked, "What can you say, please, to our youth, female and men? What would be the first red flag in a relationship or dating?" Oh, that's a good question.
Oh,
Oh, that's a
that's a
good
good
question.
question. I love that.
Hmm.
Yes. Very good question. Well, for the youth, I'm gonna separate the question in two. With the youth, we have to look at when they try to control you. Um, like I said, someone shouldn't tell you how to dress, who to be with your friends. If they met you like that, they can't take that away from you. That's the first sign for red flags for the teenagers, especially I see it in the men where the women tell me, or the youth will tell me, oh, he doesn't like me dressing in a short skirt or a short sleeve shirt or blouse because he says that I'm like, you know, trying to show other guys and he hates that. So when they start telling you how to dress and who not to hang around with, that's controlling issues. To me, that's red flags. If you met her the way she was with friends and stuff and dressing, that's, you know, it's her prerogative. If her eyes are set on you, is only on you. So with the youth, it's more likely it's controlling. And for the women, I have to say, We can dress conservative how we want, but a man shouldn't tell you how to dress. And also not to hang out with your friends. And for the red flags in dating, I love that question. It was asked of me so many times. You have to look at the red flags, and I see many a times. It happened to me one time. I dated somebody for well, I'm going to answer the question this way. So it can be like the red flags, what I saw. The person saw everything I was doing, events and stuff like that, and he wanted to go out with me. I gave him the opportunity, and we went out on a date. Unfortunately, I never put my phone on vibrate. He knows I was always busy, disc jockeying, events and stuff, and he caught an attitude. Before the meal came, I answered my phone and I told the person, "Listen, I'll talk to you later. Actually on the date." And get this, ladies, he caught an attitude because he was like, "That is so disrespectful. And I don't know how you can do that. And, I'm into you. And you should put the phone on silent." And I'm just looking at him like, ew, it's not that serious. The food is not there. And when the food arrived to the table, I said, "You know what? It's time to go. I don't feel comfortable. Your attitude and your oral bothers me." And we were just dating. So how you going to go on the jealous street and then argue on that night when you're getting to know me and that's my lifestyle? I didn't mean it and I apologize. So the whole time we're going home, and he was like, "Oh, you're never going to have a man in your life because you never find time to go out with anybody. And that what you did back there was so disrespectful." And I was like, "You know what? Red flags all the way. You're jealous. You're argumentative." Soon as he got me to the door, I was like, "Guess what? Erase my number. We are not going out no more. I don't like your attitude." Because if that was a date, I could imagine being your girlfriend and I could imagine being your wife. Been there, done that. That's it. It's out the door. So I have to tell you guys, when you go on a date, make sure you ask a lot of questions. It's important to ask a lot of questions. And into the date, I ask, have you been married? And once they start saying three, four times, that's like, okay, you have an issue. And if you see his aura getting upset when you're asking him certain questions, then dismiss and don't say anything. Just, passive and ask another question. But I say, if you're deep into the relationship, get to know the family, get to know his friends, ask how he is. And it's very important before you get into a serious relationship, because those red flags start coming out when you're dating. Believe it or not, new generation, new times, they start coming out. And I look at red flags absolutely like with a comb. Like if I see something, if you're argumental and you're jealous, now that's how you're gonna be in a relationship. So I don't give second chances. But in the youth, just be careful because on both angles, they don't like how you dress. I don't want you about around friends and stuff like that. When they start that situation, then that's not for you. It'll turn verbal and then it'll turn physical when you don't do what he tells you to do. So that's the youth. Well, Tanya, thank you for that question.
Wow. Yeah. And you know what? Thank you as far as for that explanation. That is some great information too. And I was just looking as far as in the comments section just to see if anyone had like anything else in which they wanted to add, which by the way, this is definitely great value. And it looks like Mrs. Davis said exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
For all those that's tuning in or just coming in, welcome once again to Transformation Greatness, along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast, with my very special guest here, Miss Francisca Nunez, the creator of No Longer Silent. I love how the way that sounds. Shout outs to all my brown people, by the way, to all my Boricuas in the house, to all my Mexicanos, Cubanos, Dominicanos, and all the other Anos. I love you all, right? I love you all. Maybe it's just the New York that's coming out. I don't know. But anywho, I want to talk about your show, your podcast. Can you explain a little bit more on what that's about, and what was the goal in terms of you creating your show?
Thank you. Good question. Well, it was proposed to me 2 years ago. Keep in mind, I wasn't looking at a podcast. Really, I wasn't. But someone in an interview reached out to me before New Year. It was New Year's Eve, and they called me. They were like, "Listen, we heard your interview, and I run a podcast. I would like to see if you're interested." And I was like, "Oh wow!" He gave me like 48 hours to think about it, and everything he heard that I said, he was like, "You can be able to help anyone through your podcast. Have you ever thought about it?" So I'm not a negative person. He gave me 48 hours. I told him, "Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Yes, let's go with it." So I created the name of No Longer Silent because my nonprofit is a face that it has a zipper halfway, and that's indicating, when you're quiet and your mouth halfway open. I'll send you that via text so you can see. And we can no longer be silent. We have to speak up. Mind you, it took a while for me to tell my testimony because I felt shame, and I thought about, what people were going to think. But at the end of the day, I thought of what almost happened to me. And I said, you know what? Let me run with this podcast because I can educate people how to get out of a relationship, and I just don't use the podcast for domestic. I educate people on narcissists, bullying, personality disorder, drug addiction, alcohol, what to see, because it's all linked in with domestic violence, what to detect when that starts happening and how to get out. So I'm very happy to say I'm going on 2 years. I'm thankful for the person that believed in me. And I get a lot of viewings in my podcast, a lot of support. And the word is getting out. I originally helped, which is not small, 10 women get out of relationship, which were very, very severe. But I can say proudly that they're not, they're here. Through my podcast, they're here. And I push hard for No Longer Silence. I push hard for my podcast because, like I said, I speak for the ones that don't have no voice. We lost a lot of women, men, and youth through domestic violence. So I'm just grateful. It's another avenue that God brought through my path, because they always say it's not when you're ready, is when God tells you, this is your calling, go run with it. So I am very grateful. I'm very honored that I run that every Wednesday, that everybody shares it and they come on. So, and like I said, I've helped a lot of people. That is like my baby. And I love it. And I'm on to new more, things. I educate not only through my podcast, I educate people doing workshops also. And that's coming along the way. I was very successful coming out with domestic violence awareness, a big turnout. And that's what opened the doors more. Like, okay, I signed myself up for a lot of stuff. So I get a lot of referrals, and I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to God every single day that I can help, and with a lot of humbleness and a lot of compassion. That's what I bring when I help. No judgmental. I don't care who you are, call me. I'm not gonna say you crazy, you laying, your wife raped you and why you ain't. I don't do that. I listen, and I tell them what I went through. I'm not here to break relationships either. I'll give you advice. I made you think through my testimony, should you be there, should you tolerate that. And one day, I always tell people, verbal turns to physical, and physical turns to death.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Very good. I have two questions that come to mind. The first question is this, because I was speaking with another entrepreneur and she's a servant leader. You may or may not know her, Pastor Gina Lloyd. And one of the things in which that we was talking about is that when you're doing anything great in this world, there's always going to be pushback to a certain degree. There's always going to be haters, critics, cynics.
Mm.
Lord knows during this journey, I done had plenty of them. People that told me that I was nuts for even doing this. Who do I think I am? I'm just going to be a, forever in the projects, all of that type of, stupidity. So my question to you is this: what has been some of your challenges as you've been building your brand, personally? What were some of the drawbacks or pushbacks that people were actually trying to give you, even though your heart was in the right place? Would you like to share that?
Oh, of course. Good question. Thank you on tonight. I've never had that question asked of me. Very good question. When I first started coming out with my testimony, I can say on his side, people were saying that it wasn't true. I got a lot of negative feedback that it wasn't true. I was crazy. I was trying to like damage his name. He's a good, solid guy, but you never get to know who that person is behind closed door. So no matter what they said, I kept with my testimony. It's true, it's true, it's true. And I'm not gonna, backfire and make somebody else happy because I know I went through that. You wasn't in my home to see. So with that being said, you're gonna end it's gonna throw you back what I'm gonna say. I love my haters. I gotta say I love my haters because you push me. You push me to strive. You push me to get stronger. And I love it. I always say when you stop talking about me, that's when I worry. I want you to keep talking because it empowers me to keep moving. Because if I listen to you, then I'll stay still and I won't move forward with my projects. I won't move forward doing what I'm doing or giving my testimony because the mindset will stay with, oh, that person don't want me to do that. So to make them happy, let me stop what I'm doing. Then they'll stop talking. Oh, no, not up in here with me. I want you to keep talking. I want you to keep hating on me because obviously I'm doing something wonderful that you don't like. Now, my other mindset is instead of going against me, work with me. That's how I see it. But I got to let you know on Sean tonight, we need the haters. We need those enemies. We need them because they push us. That's why we are where we are right now. So we can't hate on them. I want you to continue to hate. Give me all that energy because at the end of the day, that one upstairs, he's going to keep pushing me. So we need them. People be like, you crazy to say that. I'm like, no, it's not crazy. I worry when they stop talking because I want you to continue talking.
A thousand
I
percent.
worry about that.
1,000%. I have a saying, right? That if you tell me that I can't do something,
Mm,
I make it my business to show you that I can.
come on now.
And I always had that, even from a kid. And I always felt like I had to prove people wrong. But now I love that. I love it. I embrace it. Maybe it's a weird kind of fantasy. I mean, I am kind of special in certain ways, but but I love that because what it does, it gives me that extra focus and fuel, right, to really be able to deliver impact, to really focus on a particular project, or really be able to handle that task because I know that I don't. If I say, oh, you know what, I can't do it, now I have that reminder of so many people that just been
Mhm.
telling me that I can't do it because either because I'm black or because I don't have the degrees or connections or whatever the case. I absolutely love that. And people have made a career, a legacy of overcoming that, aka the Les Browns, aka the Eric Thomases, aka the Dr. Billy Albrooks, aka the Lisa Nichols, aka the Dean Graziosi, aka the Tony Robbins, aka the Francisca Nunez of the world, right? And so that is definitely very, very beautiful. I want to address something from our audience here and from Trinity. She has a great question, by the way. I love that young lady to pieces. She said, for the youth, Miss Nunez, can you please give an example of a red flag for youth to make it clear for us? This is good. So, all parents out there, please listen up. This is good.
Okay, I love Trinity too. I want to send her a kiss. Thank you for being on tonight. Um, I'm gonna answer the question very, very a little strong. Um, and I'm gonna mention our daughters. I'm gonna mention our daughters because mostly our daughters are the ones that don't understand what love is supposed to be. They go with the flow when the guy tries to control. But we as mothers have to start noticing when she was dressing a type of way at home. And then if you see she leaves the household, let's say in the summertime with a turtleneck. Who wears a turtleneck in the summertime? You have to question that. Who wears, like, no shorts, long pants. We have to start questioning when our daughter leaves the home like that, because if they do have a boyfriend, and I have to say I've seen it in I've mentored many teenagers where the girls will tell me, oh, he loves me because he tells me he doesn't want me in a skirt that bothers him. He doesn't like his girl in a skirt. Yeah, he doesn't like me in a blouse or nothing, like, or like those little tubey stuff, because he says I look like a bee and I have to look, upstanding for him. So when our daughters start leaving the house, when we usually see them dress a different way, we got to question, because it does happen. They get manipulated by the men, well, the teenagers saying, you my girl, and I don't want you to upset me because I want you to dress this way, or I don't want you with Susan or Mary after school. That bothers me. I want you to be with me. So when he takes that control, and he wants you around him all the time, and he blocks out the stuff that you usually did, go to the mall, hanging out and stuff, and he stops that, that's a red flag. And that's something you shouldn't allow. And I've seen it happen. And when it goes to the left is when you start saying to him, like, you met me dressing like this, I'm still going to do it. And if she acts tough, that's where the verbal and the physical starts happening. And they don't really want their parents to see what's going on. So that's when they start like overdressing, covering, their arms, their neck. So we have to be mindful. And I've seen it happen various times. My daughter was wearing a turtleneck in the summer. Who wears that? Wearing long pants, long sleeves. You have to question the behavior pattern that is different. I remember a movie that was called Don't Tell, and she was being abused by the boyfriend. He didn't like her around the girlfriends anymore, and he was slapping her, punching her in the arms where it wasn't visible. And when she was leaving the home, she was wearing sweaters, long sleeve shirts, and the mother never picked up. And when the movie was called Don't Tell, is that the friends knew that something was going on. And at the end of the movie, he killed her. Yes, he killed her. And the friends felt bad because they were seeing it and not saying nothing. So it's sad. So we have to say something, and I'm going to say we got good women, we got good men out there. If that one doesn't work for you, hey, listen, ain't no love lost. But you got to respect and value yourself as a man and a woman, that if that's not for you, leave it alone. I always say next or wait, because there's a lot of time in this youth. I have to say there's a lot of time. Educate yourself first. um do the math, study the person. But once they start telling you, I don't want you to dress this way, I don't want you hanging out, then you know what, that's not for you. If they try to change you and not accept you for who you are, leave that alone, because it will turn to the left. And I hope, Trinity, that answered your question.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for explaining that as well. Trinity said there's no such thing as can't. We are made to succeed. And Satoru, I believe, hope I'm saying your name correct. If I'm not, I apologize. Satoru Gojo said, so proud of you.
Oh, that's my
Uh,
son.
okay. Did I say his first name
Yeah.
correctly?
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
son.
Okay, cool, cool. Because sometimes I can be bad with names, so I apologize if I was butchering it. Wow, you know something? I believe that this interview is definitely going to go viral for a number of different reasons, but the main reason why is because you've been sharing information which is very vital, and I believe that someone, even if it's one person, can really take this and run with it and
Yeah.
even just find a way to have that courage and strength to get out, that situation if they're experiencing that, man or woman, then it was definitely worth putting this together. And I have a saying that towards the end, and you will hear, if what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, then may God be the glory, and we take no credit for absolutely none of that. And saying that, it's not a catchy slogan or something that's real cool. That's not the reason why it was given to me by my creator, but it's because it's the truth. If one person can take from this podcast interview and really go towards transformation, then it was all worth it.
Yeah.
Thus, it's the reason why this brand transformation greatness has been birthed. Thus, the reason why No Longer Silent has in fact been birthed. Thus, the reason why many individuals as far as my past shows came on, they were so passionate about their brands and what they had, because if it can inspire one person, then that one person can inspire another person, and then that's another person, and now communities are in fact transformed, and then areas, cities, regions, then heck, the whole world even potentially, right? But it all starts with
Mhm.
that one individual. So well done, and I wish you nothing all major success. And if there's any way in which that myself and that SBN team, the Small Business Network, can help you out in any way, we would definitely love to. I want to ask you this: so what's next for Miss Francisca Nunez? This is all great, but what's next? What can we expect from you within the first to 3 months? Will you be speaking in China? Will you be speaking in France? Will you be speaking at the United Nations? Come on, spill the beans now. I know you've been
Okay.
holding back. Come on.
Well, I'm ready for it. Well, I have the honor to say I have spoken in many cities and states. I have the honor, but I'm going bigger. I'm hopefully, and I always reach for the skies. Hopefully, I want to be in Washington D.C. to able to bring the platform much stronger. Um, Up there in Washington D.C. That's my to go, and anywhere where it's needed. I have no mind traveling anywhere because the need I see for domestic violence has been growing in capacity. And it's a shame. And I can mention Dominican Republic is one of the areas that is prone that it's like increasing almost like in the level of every single day, and they're younger, and it's sad. So hopefully, my strive is to one day speak in the White House. I mean, that's kind of huge. That's kind of big. With putting God first, but my motto is I'm unstoppable. I think I can achieve anything I put my mind to. Hopefully, there's a couple of surprises that are coming in the mix in the next couple of months. And I just want to educate the youth, the men, and the women through my workshops, through events that I'll be creating soon. And that's just, never make it about me. Always make it about, I always say, my community, helping anyone like in need in these services, and not only in domestic violence, tapping into alcohol and drug addiction, human trafficking, child abuse, anything. I put myself up there like a soldier, so I'm here for it all. I want to expand No Longer Silent, not just in the city of Patterson, like worldwide. So that's my major achievement that I want to do in the next 3 months, is take it bigger, because that's what's promoting me. And hopefully working with you and networking also to just get, it takes a village to get out there stronger. And on tonight, I just want to thank everybody that's, chiming in, and really from my heart that they took in anything I was saying. They know I'm boots on the ground. I am available anytime, any day. I don't care if I'm working. I'll go in the bathroom, I'll go in the closet, and I'll be like, okay, speak to me. My patients are very, very beautiful to me. They be like, girl, you crazy. You go ahead and, take that phone call. Ain't nobody gonna stop you. So I'm here to help, and I just thank God that He gave me that energy, and that passion. And I'm gonna always continue that. And I always say, when you humble yourself, you go far. You really go far. So I'm a genuine woman that I'm just boots in the ground, and that passion is there.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what this show is all about here. Transformation Greatness, along with SBN, a Small Business Network podcast. It's about you all. It's not about me. It's not about my guests. It's really about you all, the ones that's in the audience, because you get an opportunity to learn, you get an opportunity to relate, to reflect, and this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. We've been on for 55 minutes. I feel we can go like another 2 hours or 3 hours, but we're all very, very busy. So I'm pretty sure we'll have to do a part two for that. I want to say welcome here to my business partner and right hand man, Dr. James NBC in the house. And he said, in his words, "What's up, Miss Nunez? What's up?" And he said, "Always put God first. You can achieve any and everything. Absolutely."
Amen.
Um, so Totoro, Gojo, your son said, "We do not suffer from the shock of our experiences, so-called trauma, but we make out of them just what suits our purposes." Ooh.
Mm,
I like that. Very profound there. I may have to do
that's my
a top,
son.
a topic on that one. You gave me a great idea. And Mrs. Davis, Latanya Davis said, "This is Trinity. She will be with Little Trend. We have a voice if you want to learn more to help our youth and more." Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So, how can others get a hold of you, Miss Nunez?
Okay, so on Facebook as Francisca Nunez. Feel free to friend request me. Also, my cell phone is public 973-979-4288. If you know of anyone that's going through a situation, feel free to call me. Text message me because sometimes they don't physically like to speak, but they address me with text messages, the problem, and I'll address it. So there's my number, the Facebook. I'm reachable through the phone. I'm like a doctor on call 24/7, put it that way. So a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I don't want to bother her," but I want to say, please, if you're in a situation, feel free to call me. Even though I'm working, anybody that knows me, I'm like boots on the ground. I do pick up the phone. I do address the situation. When you humble yourself at work and you get patients that genuinely love you and they know what you're doing in the community, they let you, and I'll be like, listen, I know I'm on your work hours, but I gotta make that phone. Listen, go run with it. So I can basically say I address everybody's need. I don't ignore. I do pick up the phone and I do text real quick and say, listen, after 4, I'm available. But if it's an emergency, I speak to them right then and there because I don't know what it is. I've had left my job to get the person to do a restraining order. I had left my job to call cops on the scene. I have done that. So my profile, my person, my character speaks for itself. I have done that. I've sat in a park speaking to a domestic violence survivor for 3 hours. And they feel bad. We're like, no, I don't care. You need me at this moment. This is what I needed years ago. So I'm giving it now. So the resources are there. And I'm really out there to put it there. So anyone, I don't care if you're a man, teenager, woman, I don't care who you are. You can feel free to speak to me. I have no issues. Like I said, I'm boots on the grounds. Anybody that knows me.
Have you ever thought about starting like a non-for-profit organization?
I have one.
Oh, you have one. Oh,
Yeah. It's in
wow.
English and in Spanish. I'm gonna send you the info. I have one. I created that, I would say, about 5 years ago. And I launched it 2 years ago. But that's another I think that's another interview as to why I launched it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel that a part two is needed, please go ahead and drop in the comments. Put in part two in the comments if you feel that a part two is needed, and more importantly, if you would like to even attend and listen in. So again, if you feel a part two is needed for this, put in a part two or a two. If you feel for whatever reason, no, you're good right here, then put in a one, guys, because again, it's all about creating that content and it's about you guys. So I want to make sure that I'm listening to you because it's very, very important. One last question and then I'll let you go. I like to play a little devil's advocate, if you will. A
Go
lot of
ahead.
my previous guests, they know where I'm going with this. Cool, cool. So we have Mrs. Davis part two, and Mr. James Bryan said part two and three. Perfect, perfect. There are individuals that are watching this and they're like blown away. They are inspired. You know, you put them down an emotional roller coaster because maybe they didn't go through, but they know someone that has. They heard you overcome and that you are thriving and that just your courage and your resilience and just your willingness to serve is just so beautiful, and they're absolutely loving that, and they're cheering for you right now in their homes. But then there's that person that's like, they could possibly be going through the situation or maybe going through some type of trauma, if you will. And they're saying, you know what? I hear you. Francisca, I hear you. You know, I feel you, right? It's a beautiful thing. But I can't do on what you do. Like, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I just got so much going on right now. I don't even know even where to even begin, right? With just so much. I don't even know how to even express the words, right? I just don't know on where to turn or what to do. And but besides, you know, I got 5 kids. You know, I got a million a gazillion and one things. I just don't have the time. I don't know. I guess I'll just deal with it, and maybe one day it will improve, right? Wishing upon a star type of thing. And if you had that individual, either man, woman, or even child, perhaps, come into your office and they're telling you that, and they had that defeated spirit that there is no hope whatsoever, I'm going to give you about 5 to 10 minutes. And I want you to speak to that person like they were right in front of you. What would you say to that interview, to that particular person, starting now? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Absolutely good scenario. Well, for starters, I I would ask them how they're doing first. Their whole aura would depend how open they can open up to me. But if they was to tell me that situation that they're in the relationship, that they don't want to leave it, that the person is being verbal and physical, there's children, I would ask their permission if they will allow me just to mention certain parts of my testimony, not too much prolonged, but certain areas that I didn't mention. We as women, we're going to be scared. Of course, I was scared. I was scared. I was in an apartment that was 1,200. We're talking about light and gas. We're talking about cable. We're talking about 3 children, food, school, clothes and stuff like that. And I was scared when I divorced them because I said, oh my God, okay, it's one income, it's 3 children, all this falls on me. Let me tell you something. We as women, believe it or not, if we look in our inner strength, everything is possible. I had to get like a second job, which I disc jockeyed, and apart from nursing. And once that happened to me, I said, this is like do or die. This is either the streets or I'm just going to go and, pull the punches to be able to survive. Because it was not just about me, it was my children too. And I said, listen, they were brought into this world by me. I'm the one that has to feed them, clothe them, and give them a roof over their head, and this situation happened. Let me just move forward and allow me to say this, do the damn thing, which I'm proud of myself because it's not easy to have been a single mother, 2 boys and 1 girl. It wasn't easy, but the individual that's sitting in front of me, if I would hear their testimony, anything she would say that I would take in that she was scared, I would say, listen, I went through that. I know some people are going to say it's impossible. Nothing is impossible. If you have faith in yourself and faith in God, you will do it because I've been there. I would tell them not to be afraid because to live in a toxic relationship where it's not love, whether it's verbal and physical, at the end of the day, I said it during my interview, physical will turn to death, verbal, physical, death. If they don't understand that, then we can't stay no longer in a relationship because of the children. We can't get scared because of financial. Because later on in life we're going to face a lot of challenges, and we just have to like move forward. I'm going to put a prime example. A job, we're replaceable. Today I can be working in nursing, but then they'll, dismiss me. I'm without a job. Then I have to start looking another avenue. What's going to stop me there because I lost my job? That's like, it was my job for 30 years, the end of my life. No, you proceed to move forward, educate yourself, have a lot of titles behind your back. So when that just the job decides to replace you, you have something else. So like I said, to answer your question, if I would have that young lady in front of me, I would definitely tell her not to be afraid. Like I said, there's a lot of resources. I would help in any way or fashion to try to find, another home if she has a job. But we can't stay in a relationship because I hear a lot financial. I hear a lot because of the kids. That was my mindset. And I said, enough is enough. I can no longer live like this. I was like, one day he'll kill me, and then my kids, what? In the foster system, being raised by other people. No, I was not going to allow that. So we can't stay in a relationship because of financial. We can't stay in a relationship because of kids. Is it going to be something scary? I'm going to tell you absolutely yes. But we are capable of moving forward. So we shouldn't be scared. I'm saying a testimony. I was, and I'm here. I survived. My kids are grown. They're professional. One of them is professional. My daughter will be 28 years old September 11th. She paid off her car. She runs a business. She works at home. She has 3 children, and I raised her and two boys. 33 and I 30. So who says it's not possible? So I always say, believe in yourself, really, but don't stay in a relationship because of the kids. Don't stay in a relationship because you're scared. In life we're going to go through a lot of challenges, but you have to have that mindset. We have a lot of people that are going through stuff, but we don't give up. That's my thing. Don't give up. Move forward. Once you have that faith in God, I say everything is possible. But don't stay in a relationship because of financial. Don't stay because of kids. Don't stay because, oh, I feel bad for him. Does he feel bad for you?
Mm,
Yeah, my question is, does he feel bad for you? So we can't think that way. Never be scared and never give up. I've been there and done that. And I can honestly say, I'm not ashamed to say it, I was scared. I already ran through everything I went through, and I said, okay, one salary. How am I going to do this? Are we going to be homeless? And I just was like, okay, you got to get a second job. Let's do this because the kids is our responsibilities. They're here. So we're the ones that have to push them forward. So yes, we can do it. Yes, it is possible. All I could say is never give up. But I would not allow you to be in a toxic relationship. You would be miserable the rest of your life. And we're not here to be miserable because, love is supposed to be beautiful. We are beautiful on ourselves, and we're not supposed to be going through any pain whatsoever.
wow. Wow. That was definitely powerful. And I was really moved by everything you said, except for one thing, in which I got to ask you on this. Like, wait a minute, hold up. You said you have 3 children and they're all grown, right? They're all
Yeah.
like in their 30s and their late 20s. So I was under the impression that you were actually like a sophomore or a junior in college, and you trying to tell me that you have three
Three.
that's in their late that's two in their mid 30s and one that's 28?
Oh, if you think that's going to stun you, I got grandbabies too. 7, 8, and 4. Two boys and a little girl. Yes,
Wow.
I'm grandma.
Wow.
Thank
That's
you
absolutely
for the sophomore college thing. Thank you.
that's absolutely powerful. And you know what, guys? I won't even dare to even ask her age because I learned a long time ago when I was a kid. That's one of the things you do not do because I got slapped for it, and it's been in my subconscious mind ever since. So we're gonna leave that part right there. But ladies Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you found this to be of value, do us a favor. Please go ahead and like and share this out. Let's go ahead and make this viral because, again, this is like so powerful. And by us all doing our part, believe me, the right people can hear this and really take inspired action. And that's what it's all about. And also, too, by the way, if you love this and if you want to leave like a donation, any amount, any kind, it can be $1, 50 cents, $5, $1 million. Well, $1 million would be nice. By all means, go ahead and reach out to me or Miss Nunez, right? And basically go ahead and let us know on how you would like to go ahead and do so. And it'll be most certainly appreciative as well. So with that, folks, we've been on here for about an hour and 10 minutes. I appreciate each and every single last one of you, those that have been in attendance, those that have dropped off, those that have watched the replay. Please make sure that you follow Francisca Nunez, the creator of No Longer Silent. She is doing beautiful and amazing work. And believe me, this is just the beginning. Believe me when I tell you. And with that being said, this comes to a close here on Transformation Greatness along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. Want to thank you once again, Miss Nunez. I look forward as far as to being a guest on your show. And
Absolutely.
we're going to end this segment like I basically been doing all my others here. And if what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, well, may God be the glory, and we take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're all amazing. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Labor Day weekend. By His grace and mercy, look forward to seeing you all on the next episode. Peace and love, family. Thank you for your time.
Amen.